Welcome back to another edition of the Disney Dish Podcast with Jim Hill. It's me, Len Testa, and this is our show for the week of Schmurz Day, September 6th, 2021. Happy Labor Day to everyone in the U.S., and happy Labour Day to our friends in Canada. On the show today, I ride Remy's Ratatouille adventure and eat some crepes. Then special guest Christina Harrison is back with reviews of Epcot's new food offerings. And in our main segment, Jim explains why the first version of Disney's Haunted Mansion was going to be set in St. Louis, Missouri. Let's get started by bringing in the man whose not safe for work OnlyFans account is just him committing OSHA violations. It's Mr. Jim Hill. Jim, how's it going?
Given the way a lot of people make their living on OnlyFans, are you familiar with there's a great Jerry Herman comic song about an old stripper?
Your musical taste, Jim, or eclectic? Go ahead.
Jerry Herman, the guy who wrote Hello Dolly. You know, you can't go wrong with this guy. But set for the song is an old out-of-shape stripper steps out into the spotlight, and she tells the audience how whenever she comes on stage, the guys in the balcony start to yell, "Hey, lady, put it back on, put it back on. Geez, lady, please, lady, put it back on." They holler, "Hey," with a fervor that's growing. "Please drape a flag over whatever is showing." So I figure if I had an OnlyFans account, that would be it. People would be paying
How much
me
to do this, sir?
Yes,
sir.
You could just put a jacket on and maybe a drape.
Have you considered curtains, like in front of the camera? All right.
There you go.
All right, Jim, let's do a quick shout out to subscribers over at disneydish.bandcamp.com. Thanks to new subscribers Juliana Hart, Donna Seagrave, and Jamie T. Butkus, and longtime subscribers Mary Beth Shapley, Chuck CJS Parkster, and Rick Wright. Jim, for reasons that theme park historians will research for years to come, each of these people is represented as one of the 50 golden statues in Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary celebration. True story.
I gotta see this focus group.
And let's welcome in our special guest for today. It's Christina Harrison from touringplans.com. Christy, how's it going?
Hello. Thanks for having me back.
Thanks for being on. All right, and we're going to jump right into the news, which is sponsored by Storybook Destinations, the trusted travel partner of the Disney Dish Podcast. For a worry-free travel experience every time, book online at storybookdestinations.com. So, Jim, the big news, literally within the last couple of hours, Christina and I have been on Remy's Ratatouille adventure in Epcot. So, Chrissy, what is your opinion of the ride?
I loved the ride. The crepes were more important to me, but the ride
we're going to talk about the Crêperie, the restaurant, afterwards. But let's talk about the ride. So our appointment was for 1:00. We got right in at 1:00, right exactly at the stroke of 1:03. We were let in. My first impression of the exterior backside of the France Pavilion is how much detail they put into the architecture there. I was half expecting to see windows that were constructed entirely of paint or shutters that were painted on the building. There's none of that here. The windows look like windows. The shutters look like they actually would work in France. And there's plenty of detail both on the street level and then in the upper levels. In fact, there's this little grate section of the queue, which if you're when you go straight back, Remy's is to the left. If you're facing Remy's, like it's a Motorhead ride. If you're facing Remy's on the left hand side, there's actually this little area where two parts of the ride building don't meet, and you can see through. And Disney's cleverly put another facade behind it to add the illusion of depth there, and I really liked it. So I thought the outside was really, really detailed. And then you step inside the ride, and there's a fairly substantial outdoor queue, which has fans, which is good, and it's covered mostly. That's also good. We get inside, and the first thing you see on the walls is a dark red Empire-style wallpaper. And if you look closely in the design, which I guess would in the Empire style would typically be sort of Rococo French or Greek figures, it has rats and cheese, which is kind of great. But it's so subtle you will miss it unless you're specifically looking for it. But I really thought the queue was great. It goes through the setup of the first part of the ride, first part of the movie, where Remy is dreaming about cooking in France. So, like in one of the scenes in Ratatouille where Remy is looking out over the top of the city of Paris, and then Gusteau talks to him in like a fever dream. That's part of the queue. And I thought the queue was amazingly detailed. Chrissy?
That's the best part of the ride and the queue, other than being in the refrigerator with the giant fish, is where Gusteau, I recorded it both in French and in English. And he, you know how in the story, he loses a star, as is tradition when the chef passes away.
Right.
It's the cutest thing because he bangs on that, spoiler alert, but he bangs on the star with his frying pan and it lights it back up. Like,
oh, I didn't see that. That is in effect?
Yeah, it's adorable. I recorded it in French and in English. We've got that on our Instagram. But to me, that and then the refrigerator scene are the
all right, we'll get to the refrigerator scene in a second. So we go through the wallpaper, we go through the outside of the city, we go through a couple of more twists and turns. By the way, the air conditioning I thought was fabulous in the ride.
Well, it's new.
It's new, yeah. Dark, very dark, but also
it's not as good as America. Jim, when was America's air conditioning put in? 82?
Yeah, but again, I think the last time we had on the show talking about the offerings at Food and Wine, it sounds like they turned the dial to stun.
And that's my setting.
Yeah.
There we go.
Look,
my setting.
If there's not frost on the windows, it's not cool enough.
All right, good to know.
Could we store beef in here? Yes.
Yes.
We go through a couple of other scenes from the beginning part of the movie to set it up. So chronologically, I think the queue itself, serves as a setup for the ride. In the ride, Remy has already figured out how to cook, right? Oh, sorry. Let me back up. So you board the ride. These are trackless ride vehicles. It's a 3D ride. You pick up glasses. Each ride vehicle, which looks like a rat, has 3 rows, and they're bucket seats, not bench seats. I thought that was an unusual design choice. Didn't you, Chrissy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it. It's cozy.
It was cozy, and it prevents the sliding around because there's a couple of instances where you're spinning in the ride. You hop on the ride vehicle, and the first time you realize it's a trackless ride, Jim, is when you expect to move forward, but instead you spin around and move back into the left, which was pretty interesting.
Back into the left, like in the Kevin Costner JFK movie. Okay.
You spin around, and then the ride does not begin in front of you when you board. You actually go out some other place, and that's when you first notice that other ride vehicles might be moving in front of you, or you might be moving behind other ride vehicles, and it's apparent then that you're on a trackless ride system. And then, Christine, what was the first scene? Is the first scene where Remy is on the rooftop thinking about what to cook for Ego?
Yes. Well, first you see the Paris skyline.
Oh, right. And the skyline is beautiful, incredibly detailed, right?
It is.
And just like the outside, the depth, the layering of different levels of set pieces make it look like Paris goes on for miles inside this building. I really, really enjoyed that first part. There's definitely a wow factor there. Also, we were given the hint to look for things moving in the windows, and I won't do any spoiler alerts there, but things move in the windows in the set pieces. So, Chris, a good point. And then, okay, so then right after that, we come into a room with a gigantic screen. Like, it encompasses your entire field of vision, and you're on top of an apartment in Paris. Remember when Remy was hallucinating about Gusteau? He's here in the same sort of setting, but he's thinking with Gusteau about what to make for Ego, the food critic, right?
Yeah, he's actually on the roof of the restaurant, like on the glass.
Oh, right. Okay, good point. Yeah, good point.
And then he falls down.
Right. Okay. And so he goes through a couple of options on what he's going to cook. So he thinks an omelet is too simple, right? Mm-hmm. And then he settles on ratatouille. And at that moment, the scene looks like you're tipped through the window and you slide into the restaurant. And Chrissy, what happens then?
So you fall down into the restaurant, and then there's all of the chaos of the restaurant. Right. And you run under, and there are 3D glasses. That should probably be said, because it makes some people sick. Right. I did it twice with the glasses and twice without, and you still get it. It's just, some people.
And at the beginning of the movie, Linguini knows about Remy, but nobody else does. So Linguini's trying to hide Remy from everyone. So the ride does not take place after the movie. It's contemporary.
Right.
It's basically the plot
So
of the movie.
you're underneath the tables and the carts, and that's your point of view from the floor. Your point of view is obviously Remy's point of view.
So we get chased through the kitchen. There's a scene where we at one point are directly under the gas oven, and the gas gets Oh, so what's the next scene after then?
So then you're in the refrigerator.
The refrigerator. That's great.
So many health code violations. Like, I mean, I think I counted 30 major violations. Absolutely would be out of business. That's
right. There's tons of food. It's stacked up on shelves. Oh, I saw olives. It was fun to sort of translate what everything was. Did you see the mustard grains?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. And then there's a small screen that's the pastry refrigerator, but the rest of it is just these enormous props that were reminiscent of like
Living with the Land. Yeah, Backlot Tour, Living with the Land. Yeah.
Loved it.
Well, I remember talking with Joe Len Cicero when they were originally doing the version that opened at Walt Disney Studios in Paris, and he was talking about how you wind up hiding under a giant ham that's hanging in the refrigerator. And the ham is so big that according to the French fire codes, it had to have its own sprinkler for the fire suppression system. That's how big the things are in there. Yeah. So.
The fish definitely does, Jim. I would imagine. I mean, it's giant.
So we go through the pantry scene, the refrigerator scene. We get chased around the kitchen a little bit more. We go under the broiler, and we actually feel some heat there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chrissy does the chase through the dining room scene, where
that's after.
That.
We're on the cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Ego is in the dining room.
Right. And he's drinking wine. Right.
Yeah, the broiler.
So we go through that. At some point, it comes out that Remy is the chef. We end up in a scene where Remy is cooking. Linguini is there to help. Colette is also cooking. And all of the rats are carrying food around to help get cooked. And then finally, there's one big scene where it's all the rats in Remy's family who are eating outside. His brother's there, of course. His parents are there as well. And that's the finale of the ride.
That's a beautiful scene, too.
It is. It's really funny because of all the stuff happening in the background.
Yes.
On it.
It's beautiful.
And then you get out, and as you get out, there's a couple of photo opportunities there where with Vespas and scooters. Chrissy, we did not exit through a gift shop, though, did we?
No, unfortunately.
We did not. Jim, is there supposed to be a gift shop there?
Well, there's a fairly large merch program, but given what they had to do to sort of shoehorn this attraction into the Paris Pavilion at World Showcase, it was challenging. But trust me, once this is actually open, there will be carts, there will be signs. They'll get you there, and you can buy. In fact, somebody was just showing off. What is the chef house called? The toque?
Toque, yeah.
Yeah, they actually sell a toque that has a light fixture that shows you Remy inside of the toque.
I've seen, the merch looks,
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Fantastic. And so then we did that. We rode a few times, and then Chrissy and I decided to try the new crepes place, La Crêperie de Paris.
Correct.
And so we were the second group seated. And that the interesting thing about this, Jim, was at 2 p.m., we learned that the decision to open the restaurant for the day was made 10 minutes earlier. So we
definitively, they were planning on it, but it was a surprise and delight. So it was not guaranteed.
And we knew that it wasn't planned in advance because at one point we saw the chefs carrying over from outside of the building ingredients like cheese and white uniforms, white aprons into the kitchen, thinking like, oh yeah, we're actually doing this today. Today's the day we're doing. And I know it's a theme on this show, but I always love it when Disney surprises Disney with the opening of something. That to me is the most fun. But we got inside. Chrissy, do you want to go over the menu real quick? Do you have a copy of the menu?
Of course, yes. But if we can, there's one section of the restaurant when you walk in. I think you said it looks like Roaring Forks, or Laurel said that. I felt like you could plop it down pretty easily at Wilderness Lodge, and it would feel on theme. There is one section with tin tiles on the ceiling that had they done that everywhere, it would have felt maybe we were off budget or something. I'm not sure.
I wasn't entirely sure what theming they were going for inside there. There's a simulated like stone floor with large timber roofed supports. I wasn't convinced I was in Paris with that particular setting.
Well, we said if I had played like Maurice Chevalier or something, we would have felt a little more.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I think there was no background music at that. But again, we're a month from opening. It's and we weren't even sure that the restaurant was supposed to be opening. So some things could be excused. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So we get the menu. The menu fits on one single sheet of paper. It's basically your placemat.
Yep.
And the menu is divided, I would say, into 4 sections.
Yes.
Entrees and kids menus, galettes, and then crepes. So the galettes, of course, are savory crepes. Crepes are sweet crepes. And then there's a bottom section of drinks. A couple of things jumped out here. The main one, and I think the one, Chrissy, that we'll probably recommend to everyone is the fixed price menu for $33.
You may recommend that.
You don't think you would? So Jim, $33. You get a choice of soup of the day or salad, your choice of 1 galette with a glass of hard cider soda or juice, and then 1 dessert crepe. And let me say, these crepes are huge. And
it's ginormous,
and the salad was huge, and the soup was hearty. $33. I'm putting down a marker right now. It is September 3rd when we're recording this. $33 does not last through the end of the month. It doesn't even make it to official opening day. The price goes up, guarantee it.
Why am I going to a crepe place and I'm getting salad? I'm getting 2.
It's very French.
Crepes. Okay. I am not French. I'm Sicilian and Polish. I'm getting 2 dessert.
If I recall correctly, both of your parents are from Ohio.
Exactly. We are a hearty people.
And all 4 of their parents are from Ohio or Pennsylvania.
Okay, look now. I'm getting 2 dessert crepes.
Well, let's go back. So the appetizers in French are, of course, properly called entrees. So we have a soup du jour, which today was potato leek, and then the house salad. The house salad was with the fancy lettuces. It had Laurel ordered the salad, had a very light vinaigrette on it, and came with huge, looked like house-made croutons, and looked fabulous. I had the potato leek soup.
Can you edit my snoring?
I had the potato leek soup. I thought it was delicious. It was a tad cooler than I thought, but the flavor was all there in a generous portion, properly prepared, creamy. I thought it was very good. What did you get, Chrissy? You did not get an entree. You did not order the fixed price menu.
Because why am I getting a soup or a salad at a crepe place?
Because it's France. After all, this is France.
I would go. You go next door and you get your baguette with your 12 butters, and there's your savory.
Your 12 butters and your statin. Is that what you're getting?
My friend is very generous. She's very generous. No, the apple caramel crepe, and then the one with, you don't even get to speak on this, the one with Nutella, and then
you can't order dessert and dessert. You have to order a savory.
I don't even understand the words that are coming out of your mouth right now.
All right.
I don't.
Hypothetically, right, if you order the fixed price menu, you get a choice of 6 savory galettes. There's the classic one, which is ham with what kind of cheese, Chrissy?
Egg and Swiss.
Ham, egg, and Swiss. There's a chicken galette with chicken. Chris, what kind of cheese is that?
Bechamel. It was a bechamel sauce. A lot heavy garlic on the bechamel.
I did not think so. It came with mushrooms. Then there's the chev, which is goat cheese, spinach, and walnuts. There's a salmon with creme fraiche and dill.
Yes.
There's a ratatouille galette, with tomato, eggplant, and
zucchini and eggplant. Yep.
And then there's a savoyard, which is raclette, cheese, and what?
Onions and ham.
Okay. And I got the chicken, which I thought was tasty. It was good. The chicken was diced. Cheese was creamy. It was, first of all, the crepe itself. Let's talk about the crepes. They actually import the flour from the Brittany region of France for these crepes.
The crepes are beautiful.
The crepes were thin, bubbly. I mean, just and perfectly cooked. Nothing, and they're also, I mean, legitimately huge. Like I don't know that I could eat 2 crepes. Like that would have been that I would have done that and then gone home. I would have not wanted to do anything else. I had the chicken. That was my primary order. I thought it was delicious. Chrissy, you ordered the ratatouille crepe and you didn't like it.
Did not.
And what didn't you like about it? First of all, let me say, I thought it was delicious. That was better than the thing I ordered. I thought it was great.
The crepe was wonderful. The filling was bland to me. But again, I went in knowing that the only kind of crepe is sweet for me.
But it's not.
But it is. And I'm not going to ever order a salad in there or soup. And, bless anybody that does. That's not why I'm going. I have so many other options.
Okay. And let me say that to prepare. Let me just say also to prepare for this, Chrissy actually made ratatouille at home.
But I did add cheese.
Okay, just to prepare for this, to see, because and we do this a lot, right? When
Mine is better.
When we go to review a restaurant, if there's something specific that we're going to try and order, you either have to know how it's prepared, like you've had it somewhere else, or you have to make it at home to see what it's supposed to be like. So in this case, Chrissy made ratatouille just to make sure that. Okay, fair enough. And you didn't like it. I thought it was delicious. I thought it was fantastic. To me, it tasted like the French version of a pizza crepe, and I liked all of it. It was really, really good. By the way, Chrissy, I before you jumped on, I actually watched a video of how to make ratatouille, and you were right. And when you were describing the preparation steps at lunch,
I'm going to need you to say that again.
All right.
It's super important.
All right. So you had the ratatouille. It was delicious, but I think the best one that we had was what Laurel ordered, and that was the chev, goat cheese, spinach, and walnut. The chev had a nice bit of tartness. The spinach was tasted of green. It was savory, and the walnuts added just the right amount of crunch and bitter. And the buckwheat goes really, really well here. I thought the chev was by far the best of the savory crepes. I think next time I go, I'm going to order the salmon just to see what it's like.
No, I'm not ever going to order another savory because they're $16, and crepes shouldn't be savory.
All right, let me say too, for the $33 that we got, we all got drinks.
Sure.
And here's what's interesting, Jim. I think this is a menu price point that we might not ever see again. The sodas and juice run between $6.50 or $5 and $6.50. In many cases, it's cheaper to drink cider than water in this French restaurant. And Laurel commented this is as it should be in France, right? The cider should be cheaper. The alcohol should be cheaper than water in France. But you have a choice of 4 ciders, and they helpfully explain like the level of sweetness which each of them. There are 4 wines: a Chardonnay, a Cab, a Merlot, and then a Rosé. There's a beer, a champagne, a mimosa, and then a French martini. I think the most expensive thing is the champagne at $17.55. And I think, Chrissy, were you the one that said the champagne is like 25 or 50 cents more expensive inside Laurel said it, right? Okay, so the same champagne is served both outside in the regular French pavilion and inside in the Remy courtyard. It's slightly more expensive at the Remy courtyard.
Well, it's a service fee. That makes sense.
It's fine. There's water. You can get apple juice. You can get lemonade. You can get Orangina, which is a classic French soda. And then, of course, you've got espresso, cappuccino, coffee, and tea. So those are drinks. I ended up with the Evian to start with. And then my meal came with a cider. Laurel drank my cider for me, taking one for the team. So let's move on to desserts. Chrissy, you ordered many of them.
Because I'm smart.
Okay. You ordered the gourmand, the hazelnut Nutella with whipped cream, chocolate and whipped cream, right?
Yes. Side of
raspberry
sauce, side of raspberry ice cream.
Yeah.
And additional side of whipped cream. So
you had a crepe which was filled with sweet things, and then you added ice cream, whipped cream, and chocolate sauce to it.
Yeah.
Yes. You said yeah. You said yes, not like I'm ashamed, but yes, I'm glad we got that straight.
I never, ever have shame about food. Never.
Just as a diabetic, I still have to applaud this.
Yeah, Jim needs to step away actually to take an injection just from listening to what we're saying here.
It sounds
I'll buy yours in
wonderful,
November,
though. It really does. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And then we also ordered the apple. So it's caramelized
That's
apples
the best one, hands down.
with a caramel sauce, right?
Yes, from heaven.
Laurel ordered the pear with chocolate and whipped cream. I ordered the banana with so it's like bananas Foster's with caramel. Of those, did you because you had to go, Chrissy? Did you stay for all of the sweet?
The apple caramel is just unbelievable.
So that came out first. I thought it was delicious. The apples were cooked perfectly. They weren't mushy. They weren't hard.
Oh, they were beautiful.
And again, but so by the way, this is not a buckwheat crepe, right? This is just a regular flour crepe. It's lighter. Yes. And again, they're huge. They're massive. Apples were cooked thoroughly, the right proportions, the right heat, the right serving temperature, the right amount of caramel sauce, a very generous, wouldn't you agree, Chrissy, scoop of raspberry ice cream.
Yes, it was enormous.
A ton of whipped cream.
$2.95. I hope they keep the serving size the same.
Yeah.
Because those add-ons are $2.95 a piece.
Right.
That's a really good value. I hope you're wrong about them increasing the price.
think everything on this menu is a great value right now. You had that.
It is right.
Laurel ordered the pear. I didn't enjoy the pear flavor as much, and I think it wasn't the pear as much as what was the sauce that went with the pear?
You don't like a chocolate ganache.
No, I do not. And I think that those things didn't work for me. I had the banana, which I thought was the best of the four crepes that I had to eat for work today. Perfectly well. Like if I was not full from eating a little bit of several other crepes before this, I would have eaten the entire thing probably with my hands without any shame whatsoever. It was that good. And then the Nutella, I'm not a fan of Nutella. I don't like the flavor. I don't like the flavor of hazelnut. Okay.
I do.
But you thought that was good.
Fantastic.
Okay. And so my part of the meal was $33. Laurel's was $33. Chrissy ordered 17 different things. I think the buckwheat crepes are $16 each, $15.95.
They are.
If you want a super salad, very reasonably priced, $6.75. Kids meals are $14. You get a choice of a brie cheese galette, a ratatouille, or ham and cheese, and then a dessert crepe. So you get 2 miniature crepes for $14. I might actually order off the kids menu next time in, so I can eat everything.
I'm going to do that.
And then the regular crepes, if you order them a la carte, that's French for 1 by 1. They are $8.95 each. The add-ons are $2.95, like Chrissy said. If you want to add a shot of Grand Marnier, rum, or something. What's the third thing, Chrissy?
Calvados?
Calvados, the apple brandy, right?
$7.
That's $7. Again, but I thought the prices here were very reasonable.
They are.
Yeah. And overall, very good quality. I would definitely come back here again. Kudos to the kitchen, Jim. They had literally 10 minutes notice that they were opening today, and they pulled it off really well. Yeah.
You did mention that with, at least one of the dessert crepes, the apple one came out first. Yeah. How was the service? I mean,
service
something
was
like this.
Yeah, everyone knew what they were doing. It was seamless.
Killer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kitchen was functioning. And again, 10 minutes before the restaurant opened, one of the chefs was walking over a bunch of aprons to the kitchen. So really no one knew that they were working today. And they managed to pull it together.
They might.
I mean, there was a hint, right? Yeah, but no one was in uniform, and they pulled it together. Also, we would be remiss if we did not point out. I would suspect around a third of the weight of the staff in the kitchen were actually from France. Yes. Speaking with the French accents, at one time citizens of the country of France, not like I visited there once and I put it on my name tag. Like actual French people with actual French accents who can speak the language were in the restaurant. So in terms of authenticity, this is pretty good. I think this is a very solid addition to Epcot, especially to France. I liked it a lot.
I will be back often, so check our Instagram because it'll be like my new La Cava. La Cava on one end twice a week, and then back to the.
All right, a couple of other quick food notes while we have Chrissy here. Columbia Harbor House has reopened.
It has.
Thank God. I was there with Laurel. Yesterday, in fact. The Lighthouse sandwich is still as delightful as always. Chrissy, have you tried the hush puppies? Hush puppies?
Of course.
Oh,
they're marvelous.
Those are amazing.
You can see the corn. It's so good. I love it there. It's cold. You can go upstairs.
That's the thing. We
It's
went
quiet.
upstairs. So I wasn't super hungry that day. So Laurel ordered the Lighthouse sandwich and a side of hush puppies. All I got was a large Coke because I wasn't super hungry. And I've had everything on the menu before. But we sat up there. We had a little cubby section all to ourselves.
Yeah.
The air conditioning was on the Anchorage setting, like Nome, Alaska, which was great. We got out of the sun. There was nobody in the park yesterday when we were there. I think we walked on to Pirates, Big Thunder, Splash, Mansion, and there's a 2-minute wait at Mansion, and then walked on to Small World before eating at Columbia Harbor House. But I thought the food quality, the hush puppies that I ate at Columbia Harbor, those are my new favorites.
And the shrimp.
I haven't tried the shrimp. It's good.
Yes, you get the same amount of shrimp if you get the kids meal or if you get the combo.
Ooh.
And the combo comes with
the combo comes with like 3 things though.
Chicken and fish. And the fish is really good. But if you're just really craving the shrimp, you get the kids meal. It's a whole lot cheaper, and then you get a side and a drink. But you still get 4 shrimp with your rice or whatever you get on the side.
Nice.
So good.
Nice.
Oh, yes. The best part about it is they have all of the condiments out again.
Right. So you can get malt vinegar and tartar sauce.
If you would use cocktail sauce like I do.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. It's fine. You're safe. It's fine.
I actually like the hush puppies with the barbecue sauce, the Heinz Simply barbecue sauce.
I have to try that. It sounds
that was delicious.
Yeah.
So that was good. A couple of other things Chrissy and I have done this week. We stayed at a Polynesian bungalow, Jim. And Chrissy, how was that? You stayed with Giovanna.
Yeah.
So Giovanna, of course, is Chrissy's daughter, my niece, who we like to spoil, right? So we
you like to spoil.
As soon as we got Gigi into the bungalow, I said, Aunt Laurel rented this for you, Gigi, because she wants you to stay at hotels like this all the time. Just ask your mom.
Well, you have kept her in a certain style.
Yes.
This was just real far out of what would be my range, but she was sitting in, the best part of the whole night is she was sitting in the little pool.
The plunge pool, on the back deck of the,
by herself in a bathing suit that you got her from her personal shopper. And I'm in my Target pants and shoes and shirt. Anyway, and she's watching.
Yeah, so we're all sitting around literally wearing like secondhand clothes. Gigi is in a Dolce & Gabbana kids one-piece bathing suit in her plunge pool, in her Polynesian bungalow, right? Okay.
So she says, I have the video, I believe. She goes, Mommy, this is all I ever wanted. Just wanted. So I have to say, obviously, this is not, someplace most people are going to stay.
Right, yeah.
All the time. But if you can manage to do it once, it was really special. We got we went.
We did not leave the bungalow. So
we didn't want to leave.
So
she was upset about
a couple of interesting things. Jim, I've talked about on the show before. The first time I stayed at a Polynesian bungalow, I didn't get in until 5:30 because I never got the text that said the room was ready. So Chrissy and I were betting when we made this reservation. That's right. So I said that there's no way that we're going to get in the bungalow before 4 p.m., which is the standard check-in time for DVC reservations. Chrissy was like, oh, no, we'll be in by 10 or noon. What did you say, noon?
Noon.
I was like, there's no way. No way. Yeah, the room was ready at 10:30. And by the way, there are so few people here, Jim. I think we saw 2 or 3 other bungalows occupied the entire time that we were there. When Laurel and I we parked our car and walked through the Polynesian resort to the bungalow. The number of other guests that we saw on that walk was 2.
Oof.
Yeah. There's not a lot of people in Walt Disney World this week. Anyway,
no.
So we did that. It was fabulous.
You were staying at the bungalow for work because weren't you guys also checking out the fireworks test for Disney Enchantment?
Oh, thank you, Jim. Yeah, so the complete coincidence, Jim. Who could have predicted that the night that we were in the Polynesian bungalow was also the night that they were testing projections and fireworks for Disney's upcoming Magic Kingdom show, Disney's Enchantment. And so
Len, you're going to want to write this off on your taxes. So this was a plan, right?
Hey, who could have known that we were in a bungalow that was literally directly across from Cinderella Castle? I mean, what an odd turn of events. So we're we had a hint that the fireworks might run between 11 and 1. So at 10:50, Gigi was in bed, and Christy and I were sort of like waiting around. And then all at once, we saw the lights go off on the castle, and we knew that it was there. And so they ran through a bunch of projections that, at least from the distance that we were at, looked fantastic. A ton of new effects. So they do, there's one effect that they do where it looks like the castle is it's almost like it's paint dripping down, but all at once. But it's super bright. And I think one of the big things that I noticed about these projections was, I think this is the third generation of projection shows. The second generation was much brighter and vibrant in terms of color and saturation than the first version. This third version is incredibly bright. Like it looks like white light from all the way across the Seven Seas Lagoon. Also, it looks like Disney's put in new floodlights all around the parks, and you could land planes with these. You could probably land spacecraft.
There were at least 30. We counted at least 30 of them.
But the castle effects look really good. They also tested a bunch of new fireworks, and this went on for about 2 hours. But it was like, we're gonna do things for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna check. And then we're going to do things for 5 minutes, and then we're going to think about it for 10 minutes. And then we're going to do things for 5 minutes, and then we're going to think about it. So a couple of interesting things we saw. Some new fireworks effects, like new fireworks shapes coming out, different colors.
Tell them about the snowflake one. Remember the snowflake?
Oh, go ahead. You do it.
It was a snowflake.
And we hadn't seen that before.
I have never seen anything like it. It was a snowflake. Like I don't even understand the mechanics behind. I've never made a firework.
How you get something to explode in that particular shape? Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. It was amazing.
There were a couple of other shapes where I think they either fired them or they exploded at the wrong angle, because there was this one set of 3 fireworks that looked like they were trying to. So one of them was a circle. So it was a disc. Imagine putting a quarter on a tabletop and then looking at the quarter at eye level, right? So it basically like a flat ring. And then there was the same thing, but tilted down 90 degrees on edge. And then there's another one where it's flat again. But you could see they weren't quite head on. So you could see that they were white circles. And I don't know why they exploded in that particular shape or what it was trying to do. But it looks like there was a test shell there for something. But the other thing we saw while they were doing the projections, we noticed somewhere on the Tomorrowland side of the Magic Kingdom, a green dot, Jim, that rose up from behind the trees, stayed there for a minute, and then went back down. And it didn't move side to side. It went up, it stayed, and it went back down. And I couldn't tell whether it was a crane for filming or a drone. But if it was a crane, Jim, it went up higher than the castle. So I think it was a drone.
I mean, we've got a couple of anniversary specials coming up. In fact, I don't know if you saw, they announced that for the 50th anniversary thing they're doing for ABC, they've got Eisner, Iger, and Chapek talking about the history of the parks. It's the first time that the 3 most recent CEOs, have been available to talk about the parks. But it's quite possible they were banking footage to cut into that.
Oh, that's possible. Yeah, we figured that they were filming something because they kept repeating certain parts of it. So they saw the drone, and then right around 1 o'clock in the morning, there was this last burst of fireworks, and then things got quiet. And then we noticed smoke rising from Adventureland. And I was looking at it. It was completely dark. It was a dark night, but we could see that there was
a lot,
definitely darker smoke than clouds, and not like residual fireworks smoke coming up and then drifting to the left, so drifting to the west of us. And it kept going for a while, like after all the fireworks had stopped, and after the point, presumably, that the firework smoke would have dissipated. And it burned for, I would say, a good 5 or 10 minutes. And Chris and I were looking at each other like, does that look like smoke? Is that smoke? Because again, it's dark, Jim, right? It's completely dark. That looks like smoke, doesn't it? And Chrissy went to bed because like, it's all the fireworks are done. It's 1 o'clock. We knew that everything was done. And then the smoke got more intense. And then it's hard to tell, but it looked like there were 3 sets of vehicle lights sort of that we saw inside the Magic Kingdom driving towards this smoke. And then there was a really brief flicker of either firework or flame. It was hard to tell, but definitely something happened. And then it went on for like another, the smoke went on for like another 10 minutes or so, and then it was done. But Jim, here's the interesting part. The next day, there were no fireworks with Happily Ever After.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. And I'm sure you heard the same things that I was hearing about, that the incident was obviously not supposed to happen. And they wanted to be sure going forward
it wouldn't happen again. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay, let's make sure this is not a shell related issue. Let's do the necessary safety. Do we have anybody in the park to see Happily Ever After just as a projection show? Or and if so,
actually,
how did it play?
I went to California Grill that night, so I didn't get a chance to see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was that. But anyway, Chris and I stayed up till 1 o'clock to see parts of the Magic Kingdom burn, and that was a lot of fun.
There we go.
The other thing I want to mention while we've got Christina on here is she attended the Nine Dragons reopening over at China and apparently loved it. Christy, do you want to talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, you need to explain why you're salty about the...
Okay, here's the thing. Chrissy rolls up and says that they have the best chili oil hands down that she's ever tasted. And
ever.
I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show, Jim, but I actually make a homemade chili oil that I got from, not a lot of people know this, and Chrissy may not know this, so I'm giving out family secrets here, but our grandmother Doris was 1/8 Chinese. So, it's part of my hereditary, my cultural heredity to be able to make chili oil.
If that doesn't fly with me having parents from Ohio, I feel like this.
Well, here's the thing. I don't call myself Chinese. I'm saying it's part of my heritage. It's different. Okay. All right. Fair enough. So I make a chili oil that takes me 4 or 5 hours, includes a number of ingredients that, quite honestly, you have to go around the back of certain Chinese grocery stores to ask for, right? I'm not saying that they're illegal or that it involves the harvesting of organs of animals that are endangered species or whatever. But, it's just hard to get some of the things that go into my chili oil. And I love my chili oil. I think it's very, very good. So when Chrissy comes in and says, oh my God, it's the best chili oil I've ever had in my entire life.
Seriously.
I'm a little bit skeptical. Yeah.
No.
Oh, so, it sounds like Thanksgiving this year is going to be fun. But
it's
please
going to be
continue.
Great. It's going to be good. So what did you order at Nine Dragons, Chrissy?
Oh, everything. No, we ordered all of the appetizers. And I have to say, the appetizers, so we ordered the vegetable spring rolls, the chicken pot stickers. The best thing was the chicken dumplings with the spicy chili oil sauce, hot and sour soup, and then the crispy duck bao buns.
Oh, crispy duck. You can't go wrong with crispy duck.
Yes. So I would 1,000% recommend every single appetizer, and with the addition of a side of the spinach noodles, the ones that come with the shrimp. The shrimp.
Yeah. So it's a black pepper shrimp with spinach noodles, and I think that's actually the prior to closing down for the pandemic. I thought that was the best dish on this menu. But you think everything's good now?
I think every single appetizer is fantastic. I think especially if you look at the price compared to, you're sitting in AC. So I really took it from
the comfort perspective.
Yes, I'm in a chair. Somebody's bringing me my food. I'm not eating on a trash can.
Yeah, life is good.
Yeah, right. But it was fantastic. I will go back again even after Food and Wine. The crispy duck buns were wonderful. But I will say, okay, I even have a video out there. There might be like 3 or 4 videos on our Instagram of me just spooning this chili oil.
I saw it. That's how I thought to ask you, because one video of you putting chili oil on everything is fine. But after the third one, honest to God, I saw the third one and I went back. I'm like, did I see this? Is this the first one? Just again, no. She did 3 videos on chili. They brought her a bowl of chili oil.
It was so good. I asked if they could bottle it. Can I bring it home? I mean, it was so good. I put it on everything.
You're just embarrassing yourself right now, Chrissy. This is
absolutely 100%.
I'm just offended.
I left a really good tip.
She got the chili oil.
I did.
Look,
I left my
the service was fine, but if you could just give this to the person in the kitchen.
So I had chili oil all down the front of my shirt. I was like,
did you really?
I got so into it. I forgot I was working, and I was like, oh my God, I haven't taken any pictures.
You know, the server looked at you and said, "Would Madame like to get any of this in her mouth?"
So sweet. No, he made me take a picture of his name tag so I would ask for him next time.
Oh my God.
He did. He made me take a picture. He was so sweet because I was I tried it, and I think I started.
What was his name?
I don't know how to pronounce it, and I don't want to mess it up.
Okay, all right.
But I saved it. It's in Dropbox.
All right, it's in Dropbox. All right, I'll go back and look. Yeah. All right.
So I tried it with the dumplings, and I hollered out probably something really inappropriate. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I took my spoon and was like trying it like soup. And then I had made a plate of appetizers because we were sharing, which I don't recommend at all. And
apparently not.
I just dumped the chili oil on everything. It was so incredible. It's the best combination of sweet and just the perfect amount of spice. It was incredible. It's bright ruby red. I mean, gorgeous. Just so wonderful. So good.
That's fantastic.
It was so good. And I caused such a ruckus that the man next to me they were like at another table, asked for a little bowl of it so he could try it.
I'll have what she's having. That's funny.
There we go.
That's fantastic. All right. So when I'm back in a few days, I will go over to Nine Dragons and we'll try. You actually offered to buy me dinner there on you. Yeah,
on me. I'll buy you two because that's how good it is. I need you to try it. It's that important that you.
It's just not.
Nope.
It's just not gonna be that good. It's just not.
But you know what? You know how hard it is to make a good chili oil, and I have tried many a chili oil.
Do you need my recipe? I'm happy to give you my recipe. One ingredient per year for the next 20 years.
Yeah. I'll just go here because I already know it's not as good.
Girls, you're both pretty. Okay.
All right.
I will buy. And then you still owe me $10.
I still owe you $10 too.
You can leave the tip.
All right, fair enough. All right, well, Christy, we're gonna have to. So we haven't talked about the new food booths at Epcot. We're running out of time, so we'll have to have you on another upcoming show. You can talk about that too.
Well, can we just say real quick what the worst one was? Just real fast.
Sure. Go ahead.
Ireland.
No, my people. What? Wait, what?
Sorry,
Jim. I believe your parents are from New Hampshire. Also an American.
What is with me?
Well, actually, what is it? The chromosome test? My father, he was one of these people who very late in life decided he was from Ireland. So lots of cable knit sweaters, lots of carving of green soap. And he was sorely disappointed last year to learn that we did the chromosome thing. And it's the Hills are not from Ireland. We're mostly Scottish, so it's just, and it was too late to get, behind a good haggis recipe.
Went to his grave regretting the fact that he had never had it.
But anyway, really,
well, I'm sorry, Jim, but the fisherman's seafood pie, I said that it was not quite as good as the one that they served our dad in the nursing home. And that I needed.
There's a line for you in a food review. God,
I was about to say, had he been bad? Is that why they gave him the fisherman?
There aren't enough bad words.
My dad, maybe I don't know.
Okay,
it's just my husband and I once left. We were having seafood and we bought fresh oysters on the Maryland coast, and we once left an oyster. It got lost on the counter and rotted, and that. It smelled better. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating.
Wow.
I think I said that it was going to cost you, everything at the booth is $16.50, but it'll cost you $34.50 because you have to spend $18 on a shot of Macallan
to get the taste. To get the taste.
That's literally the only way you're going to be able to manage it.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Sorry.
All right. Well, looking forward to the other food butcher.
Sounds good.
Wow.
And
nowhere to go but up. Okay,
right,
cool.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. Well, Christina, thank you very much for being on the show. We're going to do listener questions real quick. Jim, we have time for one quick note from Adam, who's proposing new attraction names to go along with the new paid Fast Pass program, Genie Plus, that Disney has announced. Here's what Adam suggests. Are you ready? New attraction names. Splash the Cash Mountain.
Oh.
$70 Dwarf Mine Train. Slinky Dog Dash to the ATM. Astronomically Priced Orbiter. Rise in Price of the Resistance. And my personal favorite, Carousel of Process My Credit Card.
And I just want to point out to the resort executive, this is just getting started.
I know. Fantastic. Wait till people actually arrive and have to pay it. That's going to be different. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Jim continues the history of Disney's Haunted Mansions. We'll be right back.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Every story you love, every invention that moves you, every idea you wished was yours, all began as nothing. Just a blank page with a blinking cursor, asking a simple question. What do you see? Great ideas start on Mac. Find out more on apple.com/Mac.
All right, listen up, nacho chips. Quiet down, crispy potatoes. This is the moment Velveeta's been preparing you for, and you're not about to crack under pressure. Today's the day to go all in on the drip. Velveeta's Heat and Eat Queso is the MVP of any game day spread, so stick by them, and you'll be golden. Now get out there and make delicious history. No tailgate party is complete without Velveeta.
All right, Jim, when we last left off in part 4 of our Haunted Mansion series, Walt Disney was considering a place to put his haunted house. And he had closed Holidayland at the Disney park, right?
Yeah. This was the area that was just over the railroad tracks next to Frontierland. This is where if you were, say, a corporation that was based in Southern California, you could rent this 7-acre area out for Employee Appreciation Day. And there were ways to entertain 7,000 folks out in this area. They'd serve food, but you could also, there was sort of a permeable barrier that people who were attending the corporate event could then go into the park and enjoy Disneyland. But Walt closes Holidayland. In fact, it was 60 years ago this month. They closed it September of 61. And he's still committed to the idea of the Haunted Mansion as a walkthrough attraction. Mm-hmm. And in order for the mansion to now have sufficient hourly throughput, what they've decided to do is build 2 exact replicas of a walkthrough attraction and build them side by side out beyond the berm. And if you want to see what this looks like, and if you have a copy of Pete Docter and Chris Merritt's Mark Davis in his own words, go to Volume 1, page 338, and there you can see literally the site plan that Marvin Davis, not Mark Davis, put together. You can see how they were, these 2 mirror versions of this attraction were supposed to be built. The reason that Disneyland's Haunted Mansion has 2 stretching rooms is the idea was that each of these elevators were meant to service one of the walkthroughs that the groups would pulse through. So if you went to the left, you were going to see the walkthrough that was only on the left side of the show building, the other side of the berm. If you went into the elevator on the right, you're only going to get the right one. So Holiday Land closes in 61. They spend all of 62 building the exterior of the Haunted Mansion and, its little wrought iron fence and all that. Opens in December of that same year. And then, as we mentioned in the last show, work grinds to a halt because Walt is busy doing all the stuff for the 64, 65 World's Fair. But 1963 is a crazy busy year for Walt Disney Productions. Just listen to what they had in the works in this 365-day period. They had to get 28 new episodes of the Wonderful World of Color TV show out the door to NBC. That season of the show ran from September of 63 to May of 64. Mary Poppins is shooting on the Disney lot from May to September of 1963. And the animation staff has to finish working on Sword in the Stone, which is going to arrive in the theaters December 25th of 63.
Oh, wow.
Before they can then pivot to working on Mary Poppins' Jolly Holiday Scene. Dick Sherman was telling me they're working on the score for Sword in the Stone, and they're just doing some final tweaks on Mary Poppins. And one day Walt comes in and says, "Come in, I need your help." They go down to the soundstage on the lot where they had built the mock-up of the Tiki Room show. And Walt runs the show for them, and they're like, "Wow, this is amazing. What is it?" It's like, "Well, that's the thing. You have to tell me what it is. You have to write the theme song for this thing." So
I have two tasks for you, gentlemen. Number one, tell me what this is. Two, in song.
Yes, no, that's it exactly. So, they had to ram out the Tiki Room song in that same window of time so that attraction could open in June of 63.
That's why there are 17 verses that are in the Tiki Room.
There we go. There we go. Have I mentioned what the name of this place is yet? But as busy as that year was, early part of 63, Walt's up in Canada negotiating with the Seagram's Company. They own, of course, the Seagram's Tower, which is located on the Canadian side of Niagara Falls.
Okay.
And what they want, they're proposing to Walt is, what if we did an attraction at the base of the tower? And when they say attraction, they mean what we'd really like to do here is steal two rides from Disneyland. We'd like a flight to the moon, because it's like, somebody at Seagram's is being really clever. Hey, wait a minute. We got honeymooners at Niagara Falls. Let's send them to the actual moon. Hey.
I mean, it's the early 60s. The space race is on. You kind of see it.
You're
Okay,
right.
fair enough.
You're not wrong. But the other one that was fascinating is they wanted to do some iterations of this plan are Circle Vision 360s. There's another version of it that's just Circle Vision 270. But the idea is you do a film about the history of Niagara Falls, and you end it by getting people closer than they could ever get on the Maid of the Mist. And so the idea, do this at the base of Seagram Tower to make it that much more of an attraction. Walt's intrigued, but then in March of that same year, the mayor of St. Louis reaches out to Walt Disney Productions. They've decided they want to build an indoor attraction in that city at the edge of the Mississippi, but they're not talking about, one or two things. They initially want to do a whole city block.
A big city block, like a long city block.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's the thing. The initial measurement for the first iteration of the plan was it was going to be in a building that was 300 feet long and 4 stories tall.
Okay.
Walt goes with his wife Lily to St. Louis in May of 63, visits the site. He's been thinking on the indoor theme park idea because of the Seagram project. And he sees the site, he sees the view of the Mississippi, he goes back to the Imagineers, and by the time Walt finishes talking this whole idea up to the Imagineers, what they're looking to do is 2 huge city blocks. It's a 600-foot-long building that's now 5 stories tall. One of the main reasons that Walt was doing shows for the 65-64 New York World's Fair was that developing ride shows and attractions for the park is expensive. But if you can do it on somebody else's dime, that's wonderful. And here's Walt staring down the barrel of what it's going to cost to move the Haunted Mansion from all of the stuff that Yale Gracie and Rolly Crump have dreamed up. And it's like, wow, all these show scenes are going to be expensive to build. But now here's the people of St. Louis who are saying, hey, we'd love to build this indoor theme park. And, we'll give you this primo piece of real estate right down by the water. And Walt is like, ooh,
Okay.
so I could get somebody else to pay for moving the Haunted Mansion from just something that's models and prototypes and that sort of thing to an actual attraction.
And you had said on the last show that that was the setup that Walt Disney had found themselves in with the 64 World's Fair, where a bunch of external companies had come in and basically thrown Disney a bunch of money to say, build us a pavilion for the fair. And we don't care if you keep it when we're done. And Walt was like, 2 words for you, ka and ching.
That's it exactly. And this is Walt kind of leaps full force into
other people giving him money. Yes.
Well, he did.
Here's a plan we can really get around, boys.
I mean, what gets developed at this point is now known as Walt Disney's Riverfront Square. You walk into a central arcade in the middle of the 600-foot long building, and to one side is, for lack of a better term, a land. It is old St. Louis. And directly to the other side of this is New Orleans.
It's kind of bold of St. Louis to say, this is what New Orleans looks like. I mean, admittedly, right? They're on the same river, so all right.
Absolutely. But at the same time, you got to understand that given that Walt had already announced, in 57 that they were going to take their teeny tiny little New Orleans area for Disneyland, which had been basically the chicken plantation restaurant, and turn it into an extension of Frontierland. I mean, this is Walt literally servicing his own agenda, to the effect of, it's going to celebrate St. Louis. And, did I mention there'll also be a part about New Orleans? And in the New Orleans section of the park, in fact, earlier today I sent you a link to
the blueprints.
I want to say, and what's fascinating is on the ground floor of this 5-story building, if you went into the New Orleans side of this indoor theme park, there you had the facade of the Haunted Mansion. But it's so much of the Disneyland plan. You enter through a black plated wrought iron fence and you walk up to the mansion in such a way that takes you by a graveyard full of comical headstones. And then you eventually enter the building, and they have a teeny tiny crowd control area before you then step into the stretching room, which now takes you down to the basement.
Is this the first draft or the first time that we know that there's a stretching room in the Haunted Mansion?
There we go. Because earlier, all they described them were, as were elevators, to the effect of, okay, we got to get people down to the Haunted Mansion in Anaheim and then walk through a tunnel under the railroad track so that then can come up on the other side of the berm and then do the walkthrough.
Sure.
So this is the first time, yes, it's referred to as the stretching room. So they've decided it's not just a conveyance. It's going to be a show scene. It's going to set the stage for the attraction. And now you go down to the basement of Walt Disney's Riverfront Square, and the mansion is sharing this space with, I don't want to say necessarily it's the first version of Pirates. It's called the Back Bayou Ride. Basically, the scenes that they describe are sort of the scenery you see, when you're floating past the Blue Bayou restaurant in Disneyland, only kind of writ large. But same thing, you board that ride on the first floor of the attraction, and then the boat slides down a ramp to the bayou, and then you come up the other side. You have these two attractions that are using the basement of the building. So what they decided to do was, this is the first time that the mansion is basically described as a ride.
Okay. All right.
Folks come down in the stretching room, in the elevator, and that group of 40 people then steps onto a wheeled platform that then moves from room to room to room. Now,
a wheeled platform.
A wheeled platform. Ken Anderson kept noodling on the idea after 57 and 58. There was also this issue of how do we pulse people through the building?
Okay, so at this point, the wheeled platform is not the Omnimover that we know of today.
No.
Okay, all right. It's more like Universe of Energy.
Very much so, in that it would roll into a particular setting. As Ken had envisioned this thing, there would be story moments that basically 15 seconds for the group to move into the room, a minute-long story scene, and then another 15 seconds to move to the next room.
Okay.
So that's what this was. But again, this is also Walt pushing away from the Captain Gore and his bride Priscilla story. Basically 8 show scenes and then they've never quite been clear about how the guests would then be conveyed back up to the first floor, but you actually exit through a mausoleum and stroll out into the streets of New Orleans. But again, it's our first iteration of the Haunted Mansion as a ride.
Wow. Okay. I haven't heard these details before. That's interesting.
Seriously, if you get the chance, circle back to that article, check out the blueprints, because they do break down what would go where in this sort of puzzle box of a building. And this is Walt, once again, using the 64-65 World's Fair plan. And the idea is that if the city of St. Louis had gone forward with the project, construction would have begun 65 or thereabouts. The park itself would have opened in 67.
Okay.
Then, in much the same way that Broadway musicals used to go out of town and sort of test ideas and songs and that sort of thing, this would have meant that once they had perfected the mansion at Walt Disney's Riverfront Square, they could then pivot. And in much the same way that while there was a Mr. Lincoln at the New York World's Fair, Disney built a second one and actually debuted it at Disneyland in July of 65, while the original Mr. Lincoln was still back in Queens. But unfortunately, this plan falls apart largely over finances. I know there's a story out there supposedly about Augustus Busch is the one who puts the kibosh on the deal because he and Walt supposedly have a disagreement about whether or not you can serve alcohol at this place. And it turns out that wasn't the case at all. Walt, in fact, up on the 5th floor had designed sort of a pavilion space where, in much the same way that Disneyland had Holidayland, this was going to be the space where people could rent out, could have corporate parties and have adult beverages. The problem was that our buddy Buzz Price with ERA had done the initial financials on it, said, okay, this is going to cost, just from the offset, it's going to cost $20 million to build.
Right.
So what Walt proposed was like, you invited me here to St. Louis to build this thing.
Yeah.
I think it's only fair that I'm lending my name to the project and I'm putting my guys on designing all the entertainment inside the building. You guys got to build the building. And then we'll come with our ride shows and attractions, put them in. And Walt's plan, of course, was in much the same way that he got, for example, United Airlines to pay for the Tiki Room at Disneyland. He was going to reach out to all of his promotional partners that he'd acquired over the years, the PepsiCos, the Swift Meats.
So how is the revenue going to be split there? So Walt goes to the city of St. Louis and says, you guys need to build a building. He goes to the promotional partners like Pepsi-Cola and Swift and says, hey, you guys need to pitch in on building the ride shows and attractions. But then when it came time to split the admission revenues and the concessions, what was the cut there?
This is the exact same question that the people of St. Louis were asking.
You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yes.
I mean, I hate to ask what's in it for me, but what's in it for me?
They had just built the brand new stadium for the St. Louis football team down the street, along with they were in the process of building the arch to create. In fact, St. Louis felt that the Disney indoor theme park was going to be the third and most vital component of making a year-round tourist destination
for downtown.
Out of
Yeah.
And in the end, St. Louis just balked at the notion of we have to pay for the building. And it's you invited me. It's only fair.
I mean, I know $20 million was a lot of money in 1963, but to be able to say.
Was. But they asked for a pause so they could confer. And again, as busy as Walt Disney was at this time in 1963, that was the wrong thing to ask, because Walt literally pivoted from dealing with the folks to St. Louis to where are we on Project Florida?
Oh, okay. So real quick pause here, Jim. So $20 million in 1963 was $178 million today. So, okay. So I understand the city of St. Louis's reticence in giving
My God, Len, that's one Marvel movie. Oh, geez, wow.
That's like half of one Marvel movie, Jim. But yeah,
there we go.
Jim, that's the first 2 hours of a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, so they fly the corporate jet out. They collect Walt. They do some flying up and down in November of 1963 over Florida. And it's on this trip that Walt looks out the window and sees Raz Island in the middle of Bay Lake and says, that's it. That's where we're going to build the resort. So they turn around, they fly up to New Orleans to reload, to gas up the plane for the trip back to Burbank. And it's as they land, they learn that JFK had just been assassinated in Dallas. So it was, November 22nd. Walt was looking out the window at Bay Lake. But the St. Louis project chugs along for the next couple of months. In fact, what's fascinating is you can go to the newspaper archive in St. Louis, and they continue to write stories about it, not realizing that Walt has moved on.
Wow.
And in the end, it just comes down to the fact that, look, you either pay for the building or we don't come in. And, well, I don't think we want to pay for the building. Then I'm not coming.
Yeah. And then everyone moved on. Yeah, that's a shame.
It was. But because of that, the mansion project stalls out yet again.
Oh, so then Walt decides he's going to build Walt Disney World and stops thinking about the Haunted Mansion.
Well, he stops thinking about the indoor theme park for St. Louis.
Oh,
I mean, there is the 10-centennial episode of the Disney, The Wonderful World of Disney. This episode where it's Walt in this bogus setup version of Imagineering, where at one point he talks with Mark Davis about the Haunted Mansion. In fact, that's the very first time we get to see the portraits that Mark had put together for the stretching room. And then we also get to see Rolly Crump standing in front of the stuff that would have been in Museum of the Weird. So it continued to chug along. It just was now not a part of what was going to be built in St. Louis. So how we get from the fall of 63 with deciding where Disneyland, or the Walt Disney World Resort are going to be built, and August of 69 when Mansion opens up, how we get there, we will discuss in the final installment of the series, which we'll do on next week's Disney Dish.
The 6th and final installment of our Haunted Mansion series.
For those of you who had it in the pool, who said there's no way he'll finish this in 6.
Yeah, I mean, you had originally said it was 4 parts, and I'm like, well, we're going to do 8 shows. That's going to be great. And then it's 6. All right.
6. All right.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for the Disney Dish show today. Please head on over to disneydish.bandcamp.com, where you'll find exclusive shows never before heard on iTunes, including 2 new shows on the history of Disney's Flying Saucer ride. On next week's show, Jim concludes the history of the development of Disney's Haunted Mansions. You can find more of Jim at jimhillmedia.com and more of me, Len, at touringplans.com. We're produced fabulously by Aaron Adams, who'll be trying to get his car's alternator replaced as part of the 3rd annual Give a Dog a Job 5K fundraising event, starting at 9 a.m. on Saturday, September 18th at the Mainline Brewery in beautiful downtown Richmond, Virginia. While Aaron's doing that, please go into iTunes and rate our show and tell us what you'd like to hear next. For Jim, this is Len. We will see you on the next show.